The Salvation Army says it's getting more than 300 new families each week asking for help. That's demand not seen since the global recession a decade ago. The Army's annual Red Shield appeal starts next week, and it says of the 120,000 families it helped last year, 60% of people asking for help with basics like food or power were new. That is, not on its books. They hadn't been in for help before. And that comes alongside a 12% jump in beneficiaries asking for a special needs grant in the first 3 months of this year. Our reporter Zach Fleming has more.
More than 17,000 families went to the Salvation Army for help for the first time last year, according to its Head of Welfare Services, Pam Waugh.
We haven't seen anything like this since pre-recession times.
And on top of that, more than 140,000 food grants were given out through Work and Income in just the first 3 months of this year. That's a 22,000 jump on the same period last year.
People are just sitting on the fringe the whole time. One thing going wrong in your budget per week and they can't cope, so they're needing welfare support.
And then there's people like Gina. Not her real name, she's trying to escape an abusive ex. She also went to the Sallies for help for the first time last year, but not for basics.
Living in my vehicle with my 3 children and my dog, trying to get out of an unhealthy environment.
On a benefit, living in a car with a teenager, an intermediate-aged child and a toddler.
We were in our car for about a month. It had become very emotionally draining, and I just knew that we just couldn't live like that. Even the women's refuges were overflowing, so even going there was, not an option.
So she went to the government for help and was placed in emergency housing, but she says she was bounced around.
Kind of moved from town to town to town.
But then she says Work and Income referred her to the Sallies, who helped with budgeting, food parcels, stationery for her kids to get back into school, and now she's looking for a job to get off the benefit.
Now we have been able to actually get into a 3-bedroom rental property, and all my children are at school, they're all stable, they're in a safe environment. So that's really exciting for me, going into an employment, being able to support my children, and just showing them that how we were living before, you can always change that.
An example of how the right support services can change lives. But for those people sitting on the fringe, Pam Waugh says she doesn't see the need for basic grants going away anytime soon.
We've watched over the last few years of things getting worse for our families. Like I said, housing is the biggest problem. We have families that are paying up to 70-80% of their money each week on housing. And so people say, well, get a cheaper house, but that's easier said than done, because the cheapest houses are still too expensive for a lot of our people. So when you've got that happening, your dispensable money like food money or clothing money is what you'll go without.
Which is what the Sallies say more and more people are going to them for help with. Their Red Shield appeal starts next week. For Checkpoint, Zach Fleming.